Hello, Mother Willow here. Okay, I'm going to start rising the awareness of this topic of woke and critical race theory. Now, this is just my observation from where I'm coming from. And I don't want people on here going, facts, facts, where's your facts? The facts is this is what I see, and this is what my perception is. I even did research. One of the things that happened way back in like 2019, 2020, parents and people started squawking on the media and on the internet about the fact that the children in the schools were being indoctrinated with the Quran and Muslim and being taught about Islam and all of these things. And there was a big scare that the schools were being taken over by a certain group of Muslims. Okay, well, that fizzled out, but it was a scare. It started people going, what's going on? Okay. And then a group called the Christian Science Monitor started getting in there and sounding an alarm that the schools were teaching all of these things and that Christianity was being shoved out the door because of the Muslims. All right. Now, that scare started it. And people started wondering what was going on. So, what was actually going on is the critical race theory was starting to be introduced. And it was being introduced in the way of not just Islam, blacks, Hispanics, Asian, Jewish, all of the cultures were starting to be introduced into the school through the critical race theory. Okay, that scared people because all they could see was Islam, Islam, Muslims, Muslims. They weren't seeing the whole picture. The whole picture wasn't being given. Well, then they started in on the black history that needed to be exposed and taught because it was part of how this country was built. It was built on the backs of black people, slaves. And then something else came up that, well, this critical race theory is turning white children and making them ashamed to be white. Okay. Hmm. Let's take a real look at that subject. Being ashamed to be white. Being a baby boomer and growing up in the culture that I grew up in, and now learning about what I wasn't taught. Yeah, there's a bit of shame there. Now, we can take that shame and own it and be responsible. See, this is part of the name, blame, shame game. And part of that name, blame, shame game is not owning up to the responsibility that we have as a people. And I like it. There was a man on here, and I wish I knew his name. He's a beautiful black man. And he said there's a difference between white people and white folk. And he explained it very nicely, and I'm sure you all know that there's a difference between white people who look down on everybody else, and there's white folks like me that welcome all walks of life. No matter what color your skin is, you're welcome at our table, brothers and sisters. Well, a lot of these white people were starting to realize that their children in school were becoming white folk and not white people. Get the difference here? There's a difference between white folk and white people. And the fear started hitting in there. And that fear started to get more and more and more. Okay. So that reminded me of just a little of an analogy of what we learned in a psychology class that I took. Imagine, if you will, that you're walking in the woods and you see an animal that is trapped in a trap. His whole leg is caught in that trap and he's bleeding. And you think to yourself, oh my gosh, I need to help that animal. And you approach it. And what does that animal do? Snaps and snarls and bites and chomps at you and will rip your hand off, your head off if it could. It's fighting for its dear life. And even though you have every intention on helping this animal, you can't get that animal to understand. I just want to help you. Calm down. I just want to help you. But no, see the difference between a man or a race or anyone being caught in a trap and an animal being caught in a trap is the animal does not have the capability to reason. Man, woman, child, anyone that's entrapped by their own hate, entrapped by their own fear. Fear is a big one. Think about it. When that animal is in that trap and something comes upon it, it's already hurt. It's already on the defense. It's survival mode. And you coming along and saying, it's okay, honey, I'm going to help you. Snap, 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 snap. I'm going to rip your arm off. I'm going to do whatever. And the person, if that person isn't in its right, going, well, heck with you. You don't want me to help you? Well, I'll help you like this. I'll just take it and I'll kill you. And at least I'll put you out of your misery and you won't suffer anymore. What are we doing? Are we responding with our hate and our anger and we're being trapped? People are being trapped. Now, there's going to be a part two to this because I'm not quite done with this story yet. And I see I have very little time. So look for part two, continuation of this wonderful trapped story.